Hi, I'm Rick Peterson, and welcome to today's conversation. We're coming to you from the Star Media Studios in downtown Luverne. 𝗞𝗶𝗱𝗀𝗀 is this week's featured sponsor. Grab yourself an ice-cold, refreshing Pepsi to help celebrate this year's 4th of July. My guest today for the conversation is Emily Crabtree.
Good morning.
And we're coming up on the first anniversary of Kids Rock Daycare Center.
We are.
So, Emily, why don't you tell us a little bit about your involvement and position and with the Kids Rock and where we're going from here?
Okay. Well, I really wear two hats in this relationship with Kids Rock. One, as the director of the Rock County Community Foundation, I helped with the community fundraising to bring a community child care center in which we raised $1.4 million through charitable gifts to help build the facility. Those dollars helped with the all the inside needs of the classrooms, what makes the program go.
Okay.
Then I am also the board chair of the Kids Rock Inc., the nonprofit arm of the Kids Rock Child Care Center. So I serve with 6 other board members as part of the oversight and fiduciary committee that helps make sure that the center is running like it's supposed to.
Okay, so we're coming up on the first anniversary. This didn't just start a year ago.
No.
So from infant stage, not using a daycare term, how long has it taken to get to the first anniversary, do you think?
Well, when you look back at the process, we've been working at this since before COVID.
Oh my.
And we had a plan that we thought we were moving forward with, and then COVID hit. Things shut down. Everything was on hold. And in hindsight, I really think that was the best thing that happened to the project, because after COVID, what was the Tri-State building and then Total Card was for sale.
Okay.
And the city was able to get a hold of that building, 30,000 square feet of building, for a very reasonable price. And we move forward. It's a perfect spot for a childcare center. It's in a neighborhood. It's filled with green space next to the pool, has room for the playground needs, everything, the drop off, the safety. It was perfect. Okay. So we got to that point where we got all the funding in place, and June 1 of 2025, we opened the doors.
Okay. So we're coming up on, June 1, 2026.
Yep.
So the first anniversary. How's the first year? How's it going? What are the expectations? Did you meet some of the goals, or where are we at with that?
Right. So when you start something new, you don't know what to expect. And we had set benchmarks that if we had 50 enrolled children the first year, knowing it was new, that we would call that successful. Well, as of today, a year later, we have 156 kids enrolled.
Wow.
So for the suggestion that there wasn't a need or that it will never go, the families have said, no, we needed this. Okay. And the ripple effect that we had hoped that this project would have is certainly seeing its success.
So where are those children all coming from?
Well, many of them are coming from spaces where a grandparent or a family friend was watching them. Some have come from daycares that have closed. Okay. I know I could name 3 in-home centers that were kind of waiting for this center to open because it was their time to be done.
Okay.
So there's been some absorption from some other centers. Families that have moved to town.
How about geographically? Is anybody from out of town?
There are people who come to work in Luverne that bring their kids with them so they can pick up and go. So the infant list, that has been on a waiting list since babies were in the womb. Okay. So we've got, those babies are now coming. And what's exciting is that as the children grow, they transfer to the next room and to the next room. So while we were filling rooms at random with different age groups, Now we've got these infant rooms that are near capacity that they will now roll into the rooms. And so, we had a 3-year outlook. Where did we want to be at 3 years? I really think that we will be close, if not at full capacity in 3 years.
So is full capacity at what you're at now, or where are you at?
No, so our building is originally was licensed for 186 children.
Okay.
We recently had the state licensor come, and the rooms in the preschool area and school-aged area are large rooms. And they weren't licensed originally for the maximum amount of children you can have per square footage. So she said, well, we can take these rooms and add children to that and increase the capacity to 216.
Wow.
And we needed to do that because we had such a school age rollover with the closure of Family U, which was because of their funding source, that we needed to have that room.
When you say school age, what is like the older children that are coming?
School age is kindergarten to 5th grade.
Okay.
So school got out, summer program needs were there, and so we had quite an influx of kids that needed care for the summer.
Okay, so who's the on-site staff that's, not the entire number of staff, but who's your director at the facility?
Right, so we have Sarah Robinson is our executive director, Andrea Smith is our assistant director, and then we have a full-time cook who is currently on maternity leave.
Okay. Got her infant on the list?
Right. Yes,
Okay.
she is. Or she is. And then we have roughly 34 staff that, fill the slots every day. And that's the beauty of a childcare center is that we're open Monday to Friday, 7 to 6 every day, unless it's a holiday. So there is always a spot for your child to be.
So is that 35 number of employees about where you want to be at? Or
for right now, the make or break in any business is labor, right? And what you pay your staff. And so we work hard to try to keep those ratios where they need to be. And the longer we're in this, the more we hope to be independent. It's interesting. I've been involved in a lot of statewide conversations, and the model of the public-private partnership is how communities are making childcare centers go, because you can't do it on your own. It just is impossible. It's an upside-down model. The expenses overshoot the ability to offer affordable childcare.
You mentioned that we get newspapers from Pipestone, Windham, Jackson, Rock Rapids, Brandon, South Dakota. Every one of those papers have had stories recently on the collaboration of city, county, and daycare centers. So Laverne is a year ahead of most of everybody else, and if they're just getting started, Laverne, Rock County is years ahead of the rest of the neighboring communities. So
we have been told by several communities that we are on the watch.
Okay.
How did Laverne do it? What did they do? I mean, it's going to look different for every community, but it definitely, I think, set an example of what you need to do to be successful. We're very grateful that the city has a quarterly, as needed, stipend that they kind of like what they do for the pool, what they do for the Palace Theater, that if and when we need a little cash flow, it's part of the budget. It's part of the agreement with Kids Rock. $225,000 per year is in the city's budget. We ask for it only when it's needed in increments, and we don't ask for it in a lump sum, obviously. Okay. And our goal would be to eventually work away from that, shorten it every year. And, how long will it take us to get where we're completely in the black? If I had a magic 8 ball, I'd tell you, but I don't. But that is a huge piece of how we can get quality staff, retain them, offer a livable wage, and if they're full-time, they have the opportunity to take health care benefits.
Okay, now when you first opened up a year ago in the summertime, there was a lot of summertime employees. So did you go through that cycle every fall where some of the workers go back to college or the high school starts or whatever?
Yeah, we do. We had a great group of college girls that started with us. When they had to go back to school, of course, we hired on some new replacements because the kids didn't go away.
Sure.
They only added. It was very interesting. Some of the college students were actually doing online work, and so they were working at Kids Rock, kept their job there, and while they were continuing school. So we have had to add staff as appropriate. It's amazing. We actually have a lovely file folder full of people interested in work, but we just don't have jobs for them at this time. It's likely that this fall there will have to be more hires that are done.
Of the children that come, are they all 5-day-a-week kids, or is there some Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whenever mom and dad happen to work? Or how's
Right. We full-time children are always the priority. They get first opportunity to an open slot. We do have a part-time 3-day-a-week option. But if a classroom was full and there was a part-time student and a full-time student wanted to come in, that part-timer would get bumped or have to go to full-time.
Okay.
The goal would be to have everyone in the center be full-time.
What about you also offer, and I'm going to use the word emergency, but that doesn't mean there's an emergency, but a drop-off if some other parent or daycare for whatever reason isn't able to take their children. You have that option of...
That's correct. We call it the drop-in offer. They have to call in, find out if there's an opening. By 9 o'clock every day, all the the children are meant to be in their classrooms. So the directors will know, we've got an opening today in this age group. So if we had a call in for a drop-in, we could take them.
Okay.
A family would have to be pre-registered and have everything in if they ever wanted to take advantage of a drop-in. We don't get as many drop-ins as maybe I would have thought we would have.
That's because they probably have pretty good, reliable health or daycare the way it's set up.
Let's hope, yes.
Okay.
So,
all right, very good.
Yeah.
So it's been a busy year.
Very.
It's been a productive and I would guess satisfying year based on the numbers that you've talked about.
Yeah.
Any surprises that came along? We're dealing with that many families, that many children, that much staff, and a new facility.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest surprises has been the families that are, and it shouldn't be a surprise, and we were hoping that it would happen, but we have 3 new families that are we're coming in who are actually moving to Laverne because of the consistent childcare.
Wow.
They have an option. They're going to buy a house. Whether they are then going to commute to their job, I don't know what it is, but they specifically chose Laverne because of the child care availability.
Very good. That's got to be huge and very satisfying.
Very satisfying.
All right.
So,
Well, Emily, is there something else that we need to visit that you can come up with?
we're just really grateful for the support. We had a donor who used to live in Laverne who has sent 2 very generous gifts. And in one of those gifts, we were able to set up a gap fund opportunity for a family who needed a one-time help to transition so that the child didn't suffer the loss of care because something was going on in the family. Okay. So, for example, there was a foster child situation where the child was coming into new foster care. They were trying to get the paperwork going to get on the Minnesota assistance for the child care, and that gap fund was able to pay
bridge the gap.
Yes, for that one time frame. The director vets who those families are. You know, we've had, unfortunately, a couple of children who have lost a parent. And so we've been able to help that while all that transition happens in the finances and the, guardianship, help that child and family for that gap time.
Stability.
Yes. I mean, kids need stability, and that's what we want Kids Rock to be. So that money has been huge in offering that. And, anybody who's looking to how can I help the daycare center? That would be a great spot to put some.
And they can reach out to you
Yep.
Through the foundation.
We
Put
hold
that hat back on.
We hold that at the foundation, and then that is a grant that's then given to the budget for that
Well, Emily,
child.
thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on a terrific first year and many, many more. Now, maybe some grandchildren someday you might be sending there. I guess, you never know.
Very possible.
So anyway, it's time to pull the pin on this conversation, and thank you very much for joining us. And thanks for tuning in.